the talk of the town the last week or so has been the insane Twitter war. Twitter trigger fingers turn to Twitter fingers in Israel Adesanya against John Jones. These guys have been trading barbs that cross the line in a lot of people's minds.
They are going further and further every time, huh?
Jones went for Izzy's dad, right? He made a comment about Izzy's dad. Oh, who's your dad going to pick for this fight? And Izzy said, John, your mother would be disappointed in who you've become.
Ooh. That's an all-time shit talk, serious, high quality, best line ever. And I don't even feel bad because John Jones deserves to hear that kind of shit.
That's some deep
Garbage.
shit, dude. That is like some haunt you at night kind of shit.
John Jones doesn't give a fuck about anything or anyone. He's a sociopath. I don't think he even cares. No, that's a little far. John Jones is probably not a sociopath.
You never know, but I mean,
you never know. We never know.
Can't diagnose. We cannot diagnose.
Yes. I think it's pretty apparent that there's quite a big distinction between his life as a fighter and his life outside the octagon.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I would say maybe not. The way he fought when he was young was that wild, crazy, go for risk taking. I don't care. I saw this move on YouTube. Let's try it out and then knock a guy out with it kind of guy. That's just kind of who he is. Now, I guess he has changed his style in the octagon to be a lot more defensive. If only he changed his style outside the octagon to be a bit more defensive and conservative as well. Maybe he wouldn't be in the position he is now. Though he's still doing well.
Getting
Question
caught
is
driving drunk, dash cam video going viral.
So, I mean, does this fight happen? Should it happen right now? I don't think it will happen. I do think that they're going to have that Cannonier fight, and then they're going to put it on. Even Izzy said 2021 Raider Stadium International Fight Week, and I can see that kind of makes sense on the timeline right now to have that Cannonier fight in either December or January, maybe February. Give Izzy a bit of time to bulk up a little bit, and then have it in July. Have this huge Bones fight in July.
I'll tell you what. I'll believe it when I see it. I don't think this fight's ever happening. It just doesn't seem like Izzy versus Jones sounds like something that's just like not even within the realm of reality. Hell, I don't even know if Jones is even coming back for heavyweight. I mean,
no, he is.
It's just
he's coming back.
It seems like such a weird reality. I'll believe it when I see it. I want to see it. I think that at this point in their careers, I think that Izzy will take it, but can't write John Jones off. I would say
obviously. Probably my dream scenario would be Stipe and Francis figure out their stuff, then Jones takes the belt from whoever wins that, and then Izzy comes up to heavyweight, and then they settle it at heavyweight, which I still cannot fathom the idea of Izzy at heavyweight.
Yeah,
but he says it's possible, and
I believe him.
Bigger than he is. I don't see him fighting a guy like Ngannou, right? But I do see him fighting a guy like Jones at heavyweight. Because if you look at the way that Jones fights on the feet, Izzy's got his number. I think Izzy's got him on the feet. He's got this very, very similar reach. He's got the speed advantage, absolutely. He's got the feints advantage, absolutely. He's got the footwork, I think, as well. Jones has got the defense, maybe. Izzy's got the offense and some good defense, I think. And I don't think Jones knocks him out either. On the feet is all Izzy. So the question is really, can Jones take Izzy down? And when you look at Luke Thomas, actually had a long video on this. He'd released about a half-hour video talking about how competitive is Jones Izzy. And what he really spoke about a lot was the fact that those takedowns aren't there anymore from John Jones. Those takedowns are not as accurate as they used to be. It used to be that if John Jones wants you on the ground, you will be on the ground. Now it's if John Jones wants you on the ground, I hope you have good takedown defense, because if you do, you have a good chance. And the fact is that Izzy does have good takedown defense, and if he can keep it on the feet, I think he wins that fight. The only one little concern I have is that John Jones fights fair, but he fights dirty. When you think about the fact, I think I think it was Shogun he did it against, where he starts off the fight, grabs his arm, and just yanks it. And just twists it, and immediately
he bullies people in there. He really bullies people.
But he does things to injure you that he knows and that aren't at all orthodox. That aren't the classic things, like just that shoulder yank. But they're gonna hurt you, and they're perfectly legal, because why wouldn't they be? And I wouldn't put it above Jones to do exactly what he said. He literally said, I'll pull your shoulder out. And I might go
back on that. I think that John Jones might be a little bit of a sociopath, maybe. I'll go back on that.
In the octagon, I think anybody is, to be honest. I think you have to be in the octagon. But
man, Jones really just wants to hurt people. Boy, he wants you to be in the hospital.
He wants to mess with your head and just show you that he's gonna beat you. And then that's kind of what all these guys do. That's what you got to do.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
I mean, on this note, talking about Jones, I mean, of course, Izzy's been all over him about the cocaine use, about the DUIs. He posted a video of Jones crying after the arrest. He did all sorts of really, he's all over Jones, including talking about the steroid allegations. And on that note, Jones actually confirmed a long rumored story where they said that one time USADA showed up at the gyms at Jackson Wink, and Jones hid underneath the cage for hours to avoid the USADA treatment. Jones has now confirmed this, saying apparently he had just smoked a blunt and didn't want to test positive for marijuana.
I can totally picture a
paranoid
hypothetical person who smokes marijuana, some hypothetical person smoking and just becoming so paranoid at a drug test that they are just like, I need to hide. I need to hide. I'm out of here. I can picture that so easily. And God, that is.
And then passes out under the cage.
Yeah.
Takes a little nap. I can easily see that. That is hysterical. I am glad to see, I'm glad that Jones confirmed that, because that is a good closure to that rumor.
Anything else to mention on the Izzy Jones? I mean, I guess the real question here is, how do we balance this Izzy fight with, I guess, Izzy and his middleweight story, and then of course John moving to heavyweight, and how that division is going to go up? Because if you see Stipe and Ngannou settle their differences soon, that means that John, in my mind, should be fighting the winner soon. I think that's what the UFC has planned for him outside of Izzy. But if Izzy fights Cannonier and Stipe and Ngannou fight soon, you're essentially going to have those two fights at the same time, which means that both Izzy and the winner of the Stipe and Ngannou fight are going to be available and ready to fight Jones at the same time, and you got to choose who they pick. And so it's kind of a weird thing timeline-wise. I think what maybe makes sense is to do the Izzy Jones fight now, while Stipe and Ngannou settle their differences, and then let Jones move up to heavyweight, win or lose. It doesn't matter what happens with Izzy, then he can go up and fight for the heavyweight championship belt after fighting Izzy. And if Izzy wins, he can go and fight, I'd say, Jan or Stipe. If Ngannou wins, I wouldn't honestly Izzy and Ngannou fighting, but I think he'd fight either Stipe or Jan Blachowicz. And if he loses, he goes back, fights Jared Cannonier, and no harm, no foul.
The convoluted path we've got there for
it's a convoluted situation.
Yeah. No kidding. I don't know what's gonna happen there. It's gonna come down to a lot of backroom negotiation, and whoever's willing to, whoever they're gonna pay to, actually run these series of fights. All I know is I caught on. You mentioned something about Israel's middleweight story. Israel does not care about a middleweight story. He doesn't have a middleweight story. He has an Israel story. He wants to fight he doesn't give a fuck. He will abandon middleweight belt in a second if he can find, something that will give him greater glory in the world of fighting, something that will further cement his legacy. So yeah, I don't know. I think it would be interesting. I wonder if Israel does eventually abandon middleweight and just just become a guy that just shifts between different weights and just takes on all the toughest guys in every weight class, disappears for a while, comes back and does it again.
And fights for all the belts, but then just drops the belt as soon as he wins them. Just fights for the belt, says, cool, I won that one. Who's next?
GSP middleweights it.
No, I think he'll hold on to some belts. I think he will be a multi-champion, but I don't think he wants to hold up divisions. And that's why I think he'll maybe become a multi-champion, then drop a belt, and then come back whenever he feels like it.